Cox Fleet delivers end-to-end fleet maintenance solutions designed to keep vehicles on the road and operations running efficiently. From 24/7 roadside assistance to managed maintenance, mobile service, and captive shop support, Cox Fleet helps fleets reduce downtime, control costs, and improve performance through a connected nationwide service network. From Washington, D.C., this is RoadSigns with your host, Michael Freeze.
Thank you for listening to RoadSigns, the podcast series from Transport Topics that explores the trends and technologies that are shaping the future of trucking. Before we begin, I'd like to invite you to stay up to date on this topic and other important trucking industry issues by subscribing to Transport Topics. You can visit ttn.ws/TT subscribe or text TT subscribe to 571-622-0001. As fleets navigate rising costs, technician shortages, and evolving equipment strategies, many are rethinking how and where maintenance gets done. From captive shops to hybrid models and downclass trends, this episode explores how operators can build flexible, efficient maintenance strategies for what's ahead. So for this episode, we'll ask the question, how should fleets rethink their maintenance strategies to stay efficient and resilient over the next several years? We'll set out to answer those questions with our special guest, Kevin Clark, Associate Vice President of Dedicated Solutions at Cox Fleet. Welcome back to the RoadSigns podcast, Kevin.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on once again. Let's get started. Very simple question. What are the biggest challenges fleets face today that lead to captive shop conversations?
There are kind of 3 or 4 different pressures that fleets are dealing with that lead them to go down this path. And rising parts and labor costs are certainly part of that discussion. The technician shortage, as we've talked about for many years in our industry, is definitely a struggle for fleets to keep up with the work by way of the technician. But as the labor force begins to age out and those technicians aren't coming in, the same thing is happening with highly skilled maintenance leaders. You couple all that with the complexity of every new vehicle model year, and fleets start really thinking about, how do I make sure that I can get my repairs turned around quickly, because that downtime eats that revenue. So uptime is very, very important. And with all those other pressures that come into play, fleets are focused on making sure they don't have that revenue leakage from downtime.
With all those challenges, and, that's quite a puzzle for fleet managers to work on. But, how should fleets think about the role of captive shops within a broader maintenance strategy?
I think that it's not the whole strategy. But if you have a shop operation that is on domicile, and you know that you can use that operation to turn out high frequency work, give convenience to your driver team, and know that maybe fleet maintenance isn't your business's core competency, or the facility in which you're asking a partner to staff is just outside the norm of your business, you start to think about a captive shop as a strategy that bolts on to what you're doing for the rest of your fleet.
You mentioning that, fleet maintenance being the, being or not being that core competency, I imagine for some shops that would be a tough conversation. How can fleets effectively partner with providers to support or fully manage captive shop operations?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there are a lot of fleets out there that fleet is a core competency of theirs. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing there is, when you have a strong maintenance program and fleet is core to what you do, there are times where you need support for surge work There are times where you need help when it comes to recruiting and retention challenges. And there are times where the domicile of the business is not a place in which you want to grow into. And then you can go with a partner like Cox Fleet, who can stand up an operation that works alongside your other operations, that feels like an in-house operation, because you get the same data, you get the high level of service, and your maintenance continues to run in this new situation that you've entered into.
Okay, Kevin. Say if I'm, a fleet manager, and I'm coming to Cox Fleet to utilize your services, and I want a hybrid model. What does a successful hybrid model look like?
I would say that it should be invisible to the driver. I think you've got to have clear lanes. What's being done in-house? What's being done by the partner? Is it PM and light repair by the partner, or surge labor, or is it specialized? Or maybe it's just you have uncovered geography. So when you can set up something like that, and you can have shared KPIs, and you can flex up and down what you're doing in that respect, you can build a solid hybrid model with a solid partner.
What are the trends that you're seeing in your experience in fleet maintenance right now that operators should be paying attention to?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a few. Downclassing. Fleets are shifting work to lighter duty commercial vehicles where it fits the mission. Data and telematics is finally maturing to where predictive maintenance is real. It's not a buzzword anymore. And with the labor market reshaping everything, because if you can't hire and keep technicians, your whole maintenance model has to adapt to around the reality. If fleets are doing well, or fleets that are doing well are treating maintenance as a strategic function, not a cost center. And the main trend that all of us are seeing right now in the world is AI capability. And how do those AI capabilities make your maintenance operation, your fleet operation, more efficient? And there's many ways there that AI is going to help us, to include predictive maintenance.
Artificial intelligence is, I would say, that would be the word of the year when it comes to the automotive, the automotive industry in general. So that's definitely a space to watch. But Kevin, could you talk about the rise in downclass strategies and increased use of light duty commercial vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're seeing fleets take a much harder look at whether every job actually needs a Class 8 truck. For a lot of routes like regional, last mile, or lighter loads, a light or medium duty vehicle does the job with lower acquisition costs, better fuel economy, and a simpler maintenance profile. It's part of a broader move toward right-sizing the fleet to the mission instead of defaulting to, the biggest asset type.
How does that shift impact maintenance planning, staffing, and cost structures?
It changes the whole shape of your maintenance operation. Mm-hmm. Light-duty vehicles can be serviced through a wider network, not limited to heavy-duty, large-size bays in your location. Your technician skill mix will shift as well. And your cost structure changes because the parts, the PM intervals, and the downtime profile are much different than what we're used to in the Class 8 space. I think the mistake some make is planning for mixed fleet the same way they plan for an all-heavy fleet. And you have to segment that out. At Cox Fleet, we're growing our light-duty mobile service offering at the same pace we're growing our heavy duty service offering.
I just want to ask a follow up to that. Just sort of the light duty versus the heavy duty. Especially when you talk about cost structures. I mean, just kind of that move to the that move toward light duty fleets. I mean, is that? I mean, I'm pretty sure the planning and the staffing have some things to do with that. But as with cost structures, that a big part of that shift that's impacting all those three things that I just mentioned before.
It can be, yes. Again, the vehicle acquisition cost is much different. Vehicle repair and maintenance costs go down. The parts are less expensive. And just think about oil capacity alone in some of these vehicles. Your reliance on oil is much less because of engine capacities, and you also get the benefit of fuel mileage savings that you don't necessarily always get with a heavy duty vehicle.
That's like I mentioned before, there's a lot of pieces when it comes to just having an effective maintenance strategy, and Kevin, I want you to put on your analyst hat for this last question. All the things that we were just talking about, and for the people listening right now, who are fleet managers and decision makers, what advice would you give fleets looking to adapt their maintenance strategy over the next 2 or 3 years?
I would start with data. You can't optimize what you can't see. So get visibility into your true cost per mile, your downtime by asset, and build for flexibility, not perfection. The fleet can flex up and down on time. If you can go from a fully owned model, you can go to light duty, heavy duty. You can change routes with data. You can create so many efficiencies with all the data that we're able to ingest these days. So that would be my advice. Start with data.
Okay. I want to ask you a follow up to that. Just sort of, keeping track of the data, that's easier said than done. And, speaking with, fleet managers throughout the years, that seems to be the number one problem. It's just sort of a paralysis by analysis, and just kind of, you have that data and then pinpointing where you want it to be. In your experience, Kevin, what have those conversations been like, and just kind of, maybe walking them off the edge of, just so much data, what do I choose?
Yeah, listen, I've experienced that as well in my career, especially as we've started to gain so much more access to data off of telematics, engine data, etc. If you have a large fleet, you're getting pinged on locations. There are safety pings around different types of reactions from your driver, speeding or hard braking, those types of data pings. Then you're getting, you could go into a dashboard and read about what engine codes are coming up on the vehicle, and all that takes people to sit in front of the data and really decipher what to do next. I think that where we're going with artificial intelligence, the ability to grab correct insights, take down the data overload is improving drastically. I'll give you an example.
That was my next follow-up question. I just wanted to, we've been talking about AI, and, just in the pages of Transport Topics, and even in this podcast, we've talked about AI a lot. And, to have it infiltrate, a segment such as fleet maintenance, people in the industry, and myself included, are very interested in how that is applied. So I'm sorry for the interruption, but, if you, an example would be nice.
Yeah, I can give you an example. I'll tell you an example, a real world example from our fleet. We have set up our systems to be able to grab an engine DTC code that is happening actively on one of our customers' yards or on the road, and electronically that will alert a technician, help build an estimate, identify the root cause, help build an estimate and give us the ability to reach back out to the customer. And in some cases, this has happened where the customer was fully unaware of the DTC code coming on or the repair that was needed. And we were able to dispatch the technician with an approved estimate with the right parts at the right time, because the artificial intelligence helped corral all that data and all those work streams to be sure that we showed up ready to go and make the repair before the next day.
That's a great example. You can go across many industries and find such examples of how AI is impacting, that particular segment, and it's great to hear that example, and that puts a bow on this great conversation. We've been speaking with Kevin Clark, Associate Vice President of Dedicated Solutions at Cox Fleet. Thank you, Kevin, for joining the RoadSigns podcast and making us smarter about hybrid maintenance.
Thank you, Michael.
Let's revisit our previous question. How should fleets rethink their maintenance strategies to stay efficient and resilient over the next several years? First, a big thanks to Cox Fleet's Kevin Clark for joining us on the podcast. In this episode, we examine how fleets are rethinking maintenance strategy as cost pressures, labor shortages, and equipment complexity reshape the operating landscape. Clark outlined how captive shops, outsourced services, and hybrid models each play a role, with the most effective fleets blending them into a flexible, data-driven approach. He highlighted the growing importance of right-sizing equipment, including the shift toward light and medium-duty vehicles, and the need to align maintenance planning, staffing, and cost structures accordingly. Clark also underscored how telematics and artificial intelligence are starting to turn data overload into actionable insight, helping fleets improve uptime and anticipate repairs. If you enjoyed this episode of RoadSigns, please help others find it by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If today's conversation sparked questions of your own, share them with us at share@ttnews.com. We'll read every note. You can also let us know how we're doing by texting TT Survey to 571-622-0001. And of course, we'll be back soon with another episode of RoadSigns. Until then, I'm Michael Freeze. Thank you for listening.
Cox Fleet delivers end-to-end fleet maintenance solutions designed to keep vehicles on the road and operations running efficiently. From 24/7 roadside assistance to managed maintenance, mobile service, and captive shop support, Cox Fleet helps fleets reduce downtime, control costs, and improve performance through a connected nationwide service network.